What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Wednesday, May 15th, 2024, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now, it is 14:39 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from Slovakia. So, there was an attempted assassination on the Slovakian Prime Minister this morning. He was shot 5 times by a 71-year-old writer by the name of Juraj Cintula. Now, there's a lot of conflicting information out there about who this guy was and what his allegiances were. Some people are saying that he was pro-Russian. Some people are saying that he was very strongly anti-Russian, and that's why he tried to assassinate Robert Fico. We do know that Robert Fico, the Prime Minister of Slovakia, was very pro-Russian against supporting Ukraine in the war against Russia. So it's hard to say what's the truth here. It's too early to say what exactly happened, but we do know that the Slovakian Prime Minister was shot 5 times. There is video footage of it circulating on social media. Unfortunately, I cannot share it here, but we do currently have a U.S. presidential Doomsday plane in the air over Iowa right now. It took off just about 2 or 3 hours ago from Offutt Air Base in Omaha, Nebraska, and it went all the way to Ohio and Michigan, and now it's heading northwest towards South Dakota, which is pretty unusual for one of these planes. So I'm going to keep an eye on this plane for you. This is the presidential Doomsday plane, okay? And it's no surprise that they scrambled one up in the air considering this assassination attempt on the Slovakian Prime Minister. We don't know the Slovakian Prime Minister's current status right now. He was rushed to a hospital. We also have a Rockwell B-1 Lancer. This is a strategic bomber flying over Texas right now. Looks like it took off from Ellsworth Air Force Base in South Dakota. It had its transponder off for some period of time over Iowa, and it was actually flying extremely low over Iowa for some reason. So looks like our continuity of government plans are in effect. We do have this Doomsday plane airborne, potentially on standby in case something escalates out of this. Here we have video footage of the Prime Minister of Slovakia being rushed into his security vehicle by his security detail. And I will say, having worked in security for probably 15 years out of my life, I can tell you that these security guards or his Secret Service did an excellent job. They reacted very quickly and they were able to rush him quickly into the vehicle, and they were able to arrest the shooter. So let me just play this video for you here. So there's the Prime Minister being carried off. And then here's the shooter being arrested by police. So my guess is he's probably going to survive. I don't know what kind of firearm he used in this assassination attempt, but if he used just like a 9mm or standard service caliber pistol, depending on what kind of ammunition he had and where he shot him, my guess is he's probably going to survive. And this is the Prime Minister, so he's obviously going to get priority treatment over just a civilian. And this update was sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Guys, My Patriot Supply has brought back their 25% discount on their 3-month emergency food supply. And to get the discount, you have to use the link preparewithnyprepper.com. And the link is in the description below this video. And this 3-month emergency food supply has a 25-year shelf life with over 2,000 calories per day. all packed inside of 6 rugged water-resistant buckets. Free shipping is included. The normal price is $800. If you use the link, you'll only pay $600 for 3 months of food with free shipping. So use the link preparewithnyprepper.com to get 25% off of the My Patriot Supply 3-month emergency food supply, and the link is in the description below this video. And here we have a video of the shooter. He's 71 years old. His name is Jiraj Sintula. He was the founder of the Duha Literary Club.
Nesúhlasím s politikou vlády.
A preto ste sa pred mesiacom rozhodol čo?
Veď sú likvidované mass media. Prečo RTVS je napadaná? Prečo sú ľudia Mazak je prečo vyhodený z funkcie?
So, very strange situation. He says in this video basically that he tried to assassinate the prime minister because of the government policies. And then here's a picture of this guy at some kind of right-wing militia meeting called Slovenskí brachi. Okay, so very strange. Some people are saying that this guy was far right. Some people are also saying that he was far left. It's really too early to tell who this guy was and why he did this. We had another X-class flare from the sun earlier today, an X 2.9 solar flare just off the side of the sun erupted earlier this morning. Very, very concerning. So this is coming from a different sunspot, though, than the one that caused the massive global auroras on Friday night this past week. So this is from sunspot 3655, but this shows you how strong the sun is right now. We are in solar maximum. The sun has 10-year cycles, and we are at the peak of that 10-year cycle right now. So we're going to be seeing a lot more of these X-class flares. So make sure you have all your critical electronics protected in EMP-proof bags. You can buy the EMP bags on the internet. They're just Mylar Ziploc bags. You can put your devices in them, or you can get those emergency space blankets and you can line some storage totes with them. You can glue them to the inside of the storage tote and then put all your devices in there. But we're going to be seeing more of these global auroras, more of these strong solar storms. I think what we saw this past week was just a warm-up, and I think we're going to see stronger storms than that even that could threaten our power grid. And we have another barge that hit a bridge here in the U.S. This happened in Galveston, Texas. It caused a railway to collapse into the ocean. Okay, this is the Pelican Island Bridge. You can see the picture here of this barge hit the bridge here, and you can see this entire span went into the water. So very, very suspicious. We had a massive amount of NATO reconnaissance last night over the Baltic countries and Poland yet again. What you're looking at here is an Italian reconnaissance plane that was looping near the border of Belarus in Lithuania. Also, multiple U.S. aerial refuelers flying over central Poland. Also, a VIP plane from Italy going to Latvia. And also a VIP plane going from Povids Air Base to Tallinn. Povids is probably the most important base in Poland, operated by Poland and the U.S. That's where F-22s landed a year ago and were stationed in Poland for a short period of time. There were also B-2s that landed there. So we had this VIP plane go from Povids to Tallinn in Estonia. Okay, very interesting. Here's another look at the situation last night in the Baltics and Poland. There was also a Eurofighter Typhoon fighter jet operated by the British Air Force flying over central Poland as well. And then there was also this German Air Force reconnaissance plane patrolling the border of Lithuania and Belarus at the same time as the Italian reconnaissance plane, or Italian AWACS plane, was patrolling the border of Lithuania and Belarus. Here's a closer look at that. So the purple one is the Italian AWACS, and the yellow one is the German recon plane. Look at the area that they're scoping out. Okay, just on the other side of the border here in Belarus, there's hundreds of tanks and an entire mechanized brigade that was moved right to this area. Okay, and then we also had this U.S. Navy VIP plane go from Rada, Spain to Riga in Latvia. Okay, so lots of VIP planes going to the Baltics. And then also last night, we had 2 reconnaissance planes operated by the U.S. and NATO flying in Romania and the Black Sea. And what's interesting is they were flying parallel to the western shore of Crimea. So they were picking up target information for the Ukrainians in Crimea and potentially in southern Ukraine. So I would expect sometime later this evening or tonight another big attack on Crimea by the Ukrainians. They already attacked the Belbek airfield 2 days ago, and they destroyed a radar complex for an S400 missile defense system. They used ATACMS. And then here we have a U.S. Navy P-8 Poseidon sub-hunter plane that took off from Iceland and was looping right next to the Russian Northern Fleet base in the Kola Peninsula. This is where Russia has most of their nuclear-armed submarines. And we were doing loops over there with a sub-hunter late last night. And then this was 2 nights ago in Poland. There were half a dozen aerial refuelers here over central Poland. I've never seen anything like this before. The Polish military officially said that they were doing exercises with the British with their fighter jets. The Polish F-16s and the British Typhoons were doing exercises together. I don't think these are exercises, guys. These are just World War III disguises. And what you're looking at here are some reconnaissance planes operated by NATO patrolling the Polish-Russian border and the Polish-Belarusian border. This was 2 nights ago. So I want to just update you guys on the situation in Ukraine. The president of Ukraine, Vladimir Zelensky, canceled his visit to Spain and Portugal due to the situation in Kharkiv and on the front lines. All indications point to a massive offensive by Russia in the Sumy region in the coming days, as well as more advances in Kharkiv. Apparently, Ukrainian forces have now retreated from the critical town of Vovchansk in the northern part of the Kharkiv Oblast. And Vladimir Zelensky held a daily conference call today on the situation on the front, in particular in the Kharkiv region. And he ordered to postpone all international events with his participation scheduled for the coming days. This was confirmed by his spokesman, Serhiy Nikiforov. Okay, so Zelensky canceling his visit to Spain, Portugal, and all international visits. So this is not a good sign, guys. Okay, this is a sign that Ukraine is in trouble. And I've been telling you guys this for months, that Ukraine is in trouble, regardless of what the Western media says or what Ukrainian media says. Ukraine is in trouble, and Russia can basically advance anywhere they want now. If they want to advance in Kharkiv, they can advance there. If they want to advance in eastern Ukraine, they can advance over there. If they want to advance in Zaporizhia, they can do that as well. Okay, the Ukrainian front line is very, very weak right now, and Russia can basically penetrate it anywhere they want. Okay, and the Russians claim that their assault groups have taken control of the Vovchansk administrative building. It appears that the defense of the Ukrainian armed forces in the northern part of Vovchansk has crumbled, and Russia's Ministry of Defense said that they have fully captured the town of Robotine in the Zaporizhia Oblast. If you guys remember, during the failed counteroffensive, this was one town that the Ukrainians were trying to capture, but they didn't have enough equipment from the West to be able to expand upon their gains in Robotyne. So all of that effort now being reversed, all the Ukrainian troops that lost their lives trying to take this town back from the Russians has now been taken by the Russians again, okay? And the U.S. plans to send another Patriot missile battery to Ukraine. This was reported by Bloomberg. And Ukraine is pressing Biden to lift the ban on using U.S. weapons to strike Russia, according to Politico. Ukrainian officials watched for weeks as the Russians massed their forces near the Ukrainian border in Kharkiv and Sumy, unable to use U.S. supplied weapons to conduct a preemptive strike on them due to Washington's policy. Okay, so they were observing the Russians building up their forces on the border of Kharkiv for a very long time. They knew they were there. They knew exactly where they were, but because of Biden's policies, they could not strike them and prevent them from entering into Ukraine. Okay, so you see how stupid the Biden administration is. And Estonia and Poland practiced destroying ships during exercises in the Baltic Sea. The Coastal Defense Division of the Estonian Navy and the anti-ship missile battery of the Polish Armed Forces took part in the maneuvers. After we received our anti-ship missile systems, our cooperation expanded significantly. Now we can work out the entire list of procedures from target detection to missile launch, according to the deputy commander of the Estonian Navy. So very interesting, the timing of this exercise. Okay, an anti-ship exercise with Estonia and Poland carrying out these exercises together in the Baltic Sea. And Biden advances a $1 billion arms deal for Israel. The Biden administration informed Congress of a $1 billion weapons deal for Israel, including $700 million in tank ammunition, $500 million in tactical vehicles, and $60 million in mortar rounds. This comes less than a week after Biden paused a bomb shipment to Israel over a planned Israeli assault on Rafah. Now, Israel has told the U.S. that they would not start their Rafah operation until after Jake Sullivan visits Israel, and he's supposed to visit this week. Okay, so no sooner than this weekend. And Egypt seeks to restore diplomatic ties with Iran. Samah Shukri, Egypt's foreign minister, revealed that both countries were in talks to try to normalize diplomatic relations on sound footings. Clearly, this is Egypt punishing Israel for going into Rafah, and Egypt has also threatened to station tanks and military forces in the Sinai Peninsula, which they are barred from doing under the Camp David agreements. But they are threatening to withdraw from those agreements if Israel goes into Rafah. And now Egypt is seeking to restore diplomatic ties with Iran. Guys, this is biblical. Okay, all these countries around Israel getting together, forming alliances to go against Israel. This is biblical, guys. We know that during the tribulation period, there will be a massive attack on Israel that will fail. It'll be a coalition of Muslim countries in the Middle East and North Africa, led by Russia, that are going to try to attack Israel, but God Almighty will stop this massive attack on Israel, and they won't even be able to enter Israeli territory, according to the Bible, the book of Ezekiel, chapter 38 and 39. And the Israeli defense minister called on the government of Israel to make a decision about the post-war governance in Gaza, saying that he would not support open-ended Israeli military rule. Basically, he was concerned that if Israel tries to control Gaza, it will be too bloody and too costly because the Gazans and Hamas will continue to fight back against the military, and it'll be like a Afghanistan situation for the U.S. And an Israeli drone targeted a Hezbollah car in the city of Tyre in Lebanon. Apparently, 2 senior Hezbollah members were killed. And according to satellite images, the Israeli Defense Forces are setting up a new secure perimeter along the Philadelphia axis. This is the border of Egypt and Rafah. Okay, so they're setting up a new perimeter there. They're securing that border so Hamas cannot flee into Egypt. Okay. And last night, China sent the largest number of sorties in a 24-hour period so far in 2024 towards Taiwan. 45 Chinese Air Force aircraft and 6 Chinese naval vessels were seen operating around Taiwan. So this is very, very concerning, and it's possible that China could attack Taiwan at the same time that Russia and Belarus attack Poland and the Baltics. And at the same time, maybe something happens in the Middle East again. Maybe Iran launches missiles again at Israel. Who knows? But once Israel goes into Rafah, I do expect chaos in the Middle East, okay? And the Russian army claims to have repelled a massive rocket attack on Sevastopol in Crimea. Apparently, as many as 20 ATACMS missiles were fired by the Ukrainians towards the Belbek airfield. And here's some video footage from a security camera near this airfield. You could see this massive fire burning in the horizon. And this is very, very serious, guys. Okay, Ukraine is striking Crimea regularly now, and they're striking some very important targets. Okay, this airfield apparently had several S400 batteries, lots of different types of Russian fighter jets. And here we have a picture of this S400 radar that was hit in this strike. Okay, so Ukraine is definitely very good at using these ATACMS. And Ukrainian drones struck an oil depot in the Rostov Oblast. 2 drones struck an oil refinery in Russia's Rostov Oblast the morning of May 15th, causing explosions at the facility, Governor Vasily Golubev claimed. And there was a drone attack in the Tatarstan region of Russia this morning, which is very deep inside of Russia. And there was a massive Russian missile strike in southern Ukraine this morning on Mykolaiv. Also, there was a missile strike reported in Dnipro. And Ukrainian kamikaze drones blasted a Russian freight train, sparking a massive explosion and blocking a key missile supply line. Dramatic footage shows a huge fire on the railway line at Kotluban station near Volgograd after dozens of wagons were derailed. Thick black smoke can be seen billowing in the sky after the reported drone attack. The line in flames is close to an arsenal of the main missile and artillery directorate of the Ministry of Defense of Russia near the village of Kotluban. A witness in a train passing on an undamaged line said he saw an exploded oil wagon and badly burned timber, adding, "Everything is mangled. Firefighters are here. One carriage is all torn up, lying across the tracks." The official reason given for the train crash was interference by outsiders in the operation of railway transport, but Russian media outlets reported a drone attack. One local source said the train was apparently in motion since the wagons were scattered. Okay, so here's a picture of this Ukrainian drone attack on this train. Okay, and this is right near some kind of missile factory in Volgograd. And this is the main rail line that supplies missiles to the front for Russia. Okay, and here's a video coming out of Belgorod Oblast in Russia showing the Russian army using some Grad MLRS systems. This is a multiple launch rocket system. And what's interesting is they literally parked it on a highway, and it appears that they're using civilians, Russian civilians, as human shields. so Ukraine can't strike back to try to destroy it. Check this out. So imagine you're going to work and you see a truck launching rockets in the middle of the road. I mean, that is just insane. And we do know that Russia has been really pushing their propaganda. Just the other day, they were blaming the Ukrainians for rubbling half of an entire apartment block. And I do believe a lot of these attacks on Belgorod recently are false flags by the Russian government because they want to build up support for their effort in the Kharkiv Oblast. But this is absolutely insane footage. And recently, the Secretary of the United States Air Force, Frank Kendall, conducted a flight aboard an experimental F-16 fighter jet equipped and piloted with artificial intelligence. However, this has become a cause for concern for the People's Republic of China, as the use of AI in combat aircraft could signify a platform with superior capabilities and response times compared to a human-piloted aircraft. It is worth noting that this is not the first occasion on which an aircraft controlled by artificial intelligence has been tested. In mid-April, the experimental X-62A Vista aircraft, originally based on an F-16 fighter and used for AI testing, engaged in simulated aerial combat against other F-16 fighters of the U.S. Air Force. Various simulations were conducted emphasizing beyond visual range aerial combat against F-16s. Weeks later, during another test attended by the Secretary of the United States Air Force, the X-62A Vista performed a series of flights and maneuvers at speeds of 885 kilometers per hour. The combat between the AI fighter and the human pilot, with 2,000 or 3,000 hours of experience, was virtually equal, Kendall stated on Wednesday, May the 8th, at an AI exhibition held in Washington. So, guys, this is very concerning. Okay, our Air Force now has AI that can fly F-16s on its own, and they're saying that the skills of the AI piloted fighter jet were comparable to a human F-16 fighter pilot with over 2,000 hours of experience. Okay, guys, this is like a real life Terminator scenario. Okay, they are now implementing AI in our military, and the new stealth bombers, the B-21 Raiders, are supposed to have AI in them so they can fly by themselves and deliver nuclear weapons by themselves. Okay, that is very, very concerning. All right, this is a real life Terminator scenario playing out before our eyes. And the financial banking system in Cuba has completely collapsed. Cubans woke up this morning to learn that their bank accounts have been emptied and there's no cash at ATMs. And Emmanuel Macron, the president of France, has declared a state of emergency in the South Pacific island of New Caledonia, which is a French territory, after unrest and riots broke out in the capital, Nouméa, after the French National Assembly allowed long-term French residents to vote in local elections. This has raised concerns about diluting the vote of the indigenous Kanak people. The unrest saw gunshots, school closures, and a curfew, with scenes of chaos, including burning cars and buildings, overwhelmed police, and widespread looting. Wow. So France is losing control of their territory slowly. They just recently lost control of Niger, and now they're losing control of this South Pacific island. And Hungary is going to vote against the EU resolution on Srebrenica. The foreign minister of Hungary, Peter Szijjártó, said, "It's time to put an end to external interventions, threats of sanctions, and the demonization of the Serbian nation," Szijjártó said, adding that the resolution intentionally or unintentionally demonizes the entire Serbian people. Okay, so they basically want to introduce sanctions on Serbia due to the Srebrenica massacre, which occurred during the Balkans Wars in the 90s. And the Hungarian foreign minister is standing up against that, which is very, very interesting. And what you're looking at here is some footage coming out of the Republic of Georgia, and it shows protesters pushing back Georgian secret police. This is absolutely insane. Check this out. And this all happened after the Georgian parliament passed a law banning Georgia from joining the EU. So that's the latest breaking news that I have. I will be back later on tonight with more breaking news. So make sure you're subscribed. Hit the bell icon down below so you get notified when I post these updates. Also, check out my Telegram channel. I'm going to be posting some footage there that I can't post here. And also, I post all my updates there. And my Telegram is going to be in the comments down below. So until next time, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps. Prepare, practice, and persevere. Culinary out.